horizonwithin.ca. Sim is the name, and helping you is his game. And at this time of year, it can be overwhelming. And I think some people would call it burnout, where you just can't go to another store or another function or just do more preparation. And I have to admit, Sim, this past weekend with my partner, after about the fifth store, I became the Grinch.
Did you?
Oh, I was like, I want to go home. I want to watch the end of the Bills game. I want my coffee and my cookie. No more shopping. I've been tapping out, and I was very Grinch-like in my behavior about the fifth store.
I could imagine. Now, did you have a long week? Like, walk me through.
It was a busy week. We had two functions the day before, up early with the dogs, and just like, and it's I can there's a limit. I got a timeout. I can't shop anymore. I love the holidays. I know why don't we just buy this? Just go home. No, we got to look at something else. And
I think, it's funny you say that, because I've yet to meet, and I'm generalizing, a male person that has truly enjoyed being in the mall for 3.5 hours and going, you know what, just buy it. It looks great, honey.
I could understand when people go to Amazon or other online functions to do their shopping. Like, oh, this looks good. When's it going to arrive? Great. Click, bought, next, done.
I hate shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I admit, and I'm not sure if it was burnout or just grumpy afternoon. I need my afternoon coffee, or I'm a grouch. But burnout at this time of year, to me, has to be a real reality, Sam.
It is, because we already have a lot on our plate. Like, even if you take the holidays aside, right? And then you look at our everyday lives, right? And you could be somebody that is, any generation, right? We have responsibilities, we have obligations, we have things to do. It's only so much you can do in a week to begin with.
Right.
So if you want to look at it and say, you know what, I experience a level 6 burnout on a normal everyday week, right? And by the time, Saturday comes around, I'm like, and then I got to reboot, restart, and then Monday, right? And it could be your Gen Z that has to go to school.
Yeah.
And it could be your late bloomer that, is on the edge of retirement. And, once you cap those two, you're kind of looking at this ebb and flow of energy that's been pulling you in 80 places. And then you start adding the seasonal changes. It gets dark sooner. It's colder. If you get a snowstorm now, your 45-minute commute turned into an hour-and-a-half commute. Like last week when we was and we got the Alberta Clipper come through, and all of a sudden
you're stuck on the 401 for 2 hours.
And now you're like completely flatlined, because that hour-and-a-half had to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Add Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Add navigating parking lots in the mall. Like, your brain is doing 40% more work on a day-to-day basis. So for you on a Saturday afternoon, feeling like, I'm turning Grinchy, all of us are there. We have this in society. I've also noticed, especially in the last few years, there's this expectation of being buddy, health, energy all the time.
How is that possible?
It's not possible, but there's this false expectation of it. Or it's everywhere, right? Like, we can't really, then the last time you could walk in there and go, I'll afford a Grinch today. And they're going to be like, wow, don't be a Baja humbug. Don't be a woohoo. You know what I mean? Like, cheer up. It's a Christmas spirit. And you're like, no, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
Right? So it is not something that we should feel that needs to be ostracized. I fear that it's a conversation that needs to be had, because it takes away from the joy of Christmas. And even if you look at the story of the Grinch, right? He was tired of the noise for a while. And because it was just getting more and more, he became more and more, to a point where he became 2 hearts too small, right? And now we feel, well, if I express that I'm 2 hearts too small,
what's wrong with you?
So then we just whiplash ourselves to being buddy all the time.
Right.
And all we've done is we've compounded our burnout even more. Right. So another thing that we need to kind of consider is Our professional settings, our personal settings, and our social settings also increase the demand on
Right.
our needs,
Right.
right?
So every day you look at your calendar like, oh God, I got 2 things here, 3 things here.
I got to shop. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do that. Family's coming into town.
Yeah.
I got to go to the airport. So, and you cannot take time out and say, I just need a minute, right? So, one of the common tools that I use in session a lot is reframing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, this time of year is going to pull energy from you. Whether you choose to participate in activities, whether you choose to participate in the holidays, your environment has become that much more, right? So if you do Saturday afternoon grocery shopping, well, guess what, man? You're competing for parking space, you're competing for aisle space, you're competing for that. So inadvertently, you're burning out because in your routine of non-participation in the holidays, you're still exerting energy that you didn't have to.
Right.
In your social setting. In your professional setting, now all of a sudden you have to go to a Christmas lunch.
Yeah.
Right?
And get your work done at the same time.
Right? Or they're like, oh, nobody has to do any work, but your CRMs require you to send the emails out.
Yeah.
Because they may be working in a different time zone, or they're working in a different country, or whatever the X values are. So now all of a sudden you have this expectation to go sit through a Christmas lunch because you have to be social.
Yeah.
But it's not something you're willing to participate in. And this is during the day of the week.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. One, it's a disruption of routine. And two, 4 o'clock, you have to go pick up the kids. It's da-da-da. So one way to reframe that sense of feeling, because minute you start feeling burnout and you don't have a way to measure, it becomes very hard to then reorient yourself or find bursts of energy. So when you're reframing, one of the tools that I suggest is traffic lights, right? So you have you go green to red, right? So the best way to frame your energy is you go, okay, if I'm in the green, things are manageable because you've accounted for that there are more things happening.
Right.
The reason why I'm saying manageable versus I can do this, because I can do this gives you that sense of Buddy the Elf energy. We have to also be truthful that there's demands coming of you. So like say on a Saturday, okay, so green is manageable, yellow is tolerable, red is I'm 2 hearts too small.
Right.
Now, if I had to ask you, when you got out of the car, what color were you?
I was yellow on the verge of red.
So you were already on the low.
Oh, but when we started?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I was entering yellow. I was
Entering
like, okay, I think I can get through
Right.
this.
That means we need to go, okay, that means you woke up probably in the light green, yellow range to begin with, because you said you had 2 activities the night before.
Yeah.
That's cognitive reframing. So when you wake up, whatever, you can do that every day of the week, and you could be like, what am I waking up in? Am I waking up in, are things manageable today? Are things tolerable today? That's it. It's a simple match to it. You're not overanalyzing it. You're not questioning yourself. You're not pushing yourself. You're just taking a step back, right? And I brought this up in a previous podcast, the Santa method.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Now you can bridge them together. So the Santa method would be then see what it is. So now you're seeing unawake, right? You're asking, where am I? Which color, right? You're naming it burnout at level of. You're taking it is what it is. And then the last one, act with conviction. And it is when the going gets tough, the tough get going, right? Now you've matched the two because you're telling yourself, hey, listen, I'm not being Grinch out of purpose. I'm being Grinch because I'm being pushed in many directions, which I'm able to manage pre-holiday. But all these extras, I'm not getting new energy. I'm still me. I have to manage this. So by doing Santa with the color code, right? Now, a lot of times what happens is, and it's even with myself, right? Because they start blending into each other. If you're stuck in a snowstorm, Santa's not going to occur in your mind.
No.
right? You're 2 hearts too small right away. So another technique to reframe the mind is it's called TWCW. Okay. And what that stands for is the world and wait.
Okay.
So if you don't want to go with it is what it is because it sounds a little bit more angering, because you're like, no, it isn't what it is, right? Fine. Just in that take a breath moment, you're still keeping Santa. Where it comes to take a breath, you inhale the world can wait.
So how do I know if I'm just in a grinchy mood for a couple hours because I'm overdue for a coffee and a cookie? And how do I know if I'm really burned out?
By your color codes.
Oh, I see. So I see.
Because you're matching it to that. Because remember, you're always going to wake up to manageable.
Right.
Things are either manageable, things are either tolerable, or things are either 2 hearts too small.
2 hearts too small.
You're only falling in 3 zones because we're accounting for the fact that the holidays and the season is expecting an extra demand from you because you have it from all 3 areas. You have extra demands in your home environment, you have extra demands in your social environment, and you have extra demands in your professional environment.
Because you've got to get all this extra work done before you take a break, right?
Or it's events, activities.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a salesperson and now you got to take your top 5 clients out, and one you got to take them to a Leafs game, one you got to take them to a Raps game, one you got to take them to a fancy dinner, the other one he's flying in from town, and that's an extra demand on your professional lens. Or you're the type that has to fly out of November,
Yes.
and your client happens to be in Europe, right? And when you land, now you're personal and you're social. What I'm trying to say is that by using that gauge meter, you're only measuring, is my level of energy for today manageable, which means I can get through the day? Is it tolerable, right? I can get to the drill, but I'm going to need support, or I'm going to need to find ways to pause, or you know what? I'm just 2 hearts too small. Now, we can find a way to get you more energy, right? So, I think we discussed it in the Doom Scroll podcast.
Yes.
Where I was working out fat, proteins, and carbs.
Yes.
Now, I would encourage the listeners to go to that podcast because it's got some valuable answers on how you can replenish your energy, right? But to kind of give a quick recap on it, basically what it is, just like how in the middle of the day, you're going to reach for something to energize you physically, right? So either you're going to be like, I have time and I'm going to have a protein bar, right? It's got a combination of all 3, right? Proteins, carbs, and fats, right? Or you could be like, you know what? I'm going to have a wrap, protein, carbs, and fats, right? Or I'm going to stop and grab an actual bite. They're replenishing energy. Same way you can replenish energy mentally, right? Where your simple carbs could be, you know what? I'm just going to go on Insta, right? And I'm just going to go look at some reels that I like. And I'm going to tune the word out. And I'm going to set a timer, and in 10 minutes, whatever energy I got, I'm going to get going, right? Same thing with your proteins. Now, proteins are more activities. You could be like, you know what? I'm going to put everything down.
Gonna go walk the dog.
I'm going to go walk the dog. Or if I'm in the office, guys, I'm just going to take the elevator down.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into the lobby. I'm going to go to the front door. I'm going to open the door, take it a quick sip of breath, close the door, come back. Yeah. Because that's all the time you have.
Yeah.
Maybe you only have 4 minutes.
Right.
But that's enough to go and come back. You did an activity.
That breaks that mental cycle, right?
Right, because you may not have time to go for a 10-minute walk. So why create a reality you can't fulfill?
Right.
It's just giving you self-anxiety. The idea is carbs are something simple. Social media is really the simplest way to get a carb in, right? That replenishes you. So you may be yellow, bordering red, and you're like, I need an intervention. Because remember, the only thing you can do is get to 2 hearts too small in any environment other than a home environment.
Right.
So now you can then use the proper intervention and go, okay, I know what I can do. When you're near green, life's okay. It's your yellow to red. Your issue is yellow to red. Your issue is not green to yellow. When you're yellow to red, when you're like tolerable to burnout or 2 hearts too small, right? You can use different tools. You can use the world can wait. Where you could be like, you know what? The world can wait.
From your standpoint, Sim, is there a difference between I feel burned out or I think I'm depressed? How do you identify saying I'm not just burned out. I'm feeling like Charlie Brown Christmas depressed. How do you know?
So I like that you brought that up, and I feel it deserves space and conversation on its own.
Okay.
And I feel we should do an episode on understanding what it means to have a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay. So that'll be our next episode, getting into that. For now, I'm trying not to be a Grinch. I know I'm going to have a coffee later with my cookie, so I'll be a lot happier. It doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And I'll be more between 6 and 9 and 6 going to 3.
Right. Or the easiest way is tolerable,
Yeah.
manageable, tolerable, too hard, too small.
I love that. It's a great
Oh,
one. That's why we watch you, Sim.
Yeah.
Because it's perfect.
Yeah.
You are very, very manageable every day I talk to you.